The audiobook reviewed here is The Structure of Scientific Revolutions by Thomas Kuhn. In the preface, Kuhn tells us that he began the work as a way of explaining to himself and his friends why he chose to study the history of science. In the preface, he describes the work as an essay, and that he had hoped to include additional material in order to compile a book. He mentions the many people that influenced his thinking, and amongst these were Paul Feyerabend. It was perhaps unsurprising that Feyerabend would have been an influence, as they were based at the same university and shared common interests. However, for the most part, I have been a little sceptical of the ideas presented in Feyerabend's Against Method, and have made some attempts to address these in an essay elsewhere. The sharing of some similar themes is evident later in the book. Already in the preface, Kuhn approaches a very sensitive subject area by marking out the social sciences as opposed to the natural sciences for special attention. Both history and acquaintance made me doubt that practitioners of the natural sciences possess firmer or more permanent answers to such questions than their colleagues in social science. Yet somehow the practice of astronomy, physics, chemistry or biology normally fails to evoke the controversies over fundamentals that today often seem endemic amongst, say, psychologists or sociologists. Attempting to discover the source of that difference led me to recognise the role in scientific research of what I have since called paradigms." End quote. However, here he makes clear that the practitioners of the two share similar permanent answers to the questions posed within their science, while in the same paragraph drawing attention to controversies over the fundamentals. Such controversies, however, are more a reflection of the relative simplicity of the fundamental phenomenon being described in each of the disciplines. While in the fundamentals of one branch of physics, mechanics, there is consideration of the motion of bodies in an idealized environment, in psychology or sociology the fundamentals are concerned not with inanimate, idealized objects, but richly complex human beings. That fundamentals should be arrived at all is testimony to the skill of the practitioners in those fields, where matters are complicated not only by volition but also by the complex genetic coding resulting from 3 billion years of evolution, multi-layered environmental influences, and the interplay between all of these, not just in the individual but in group and society settings. Perhaps the benefits to society of the technological advances informed by the natural sciences are the real reason why the natural and social sciences are separated. To propagate the arguments within the social sciences, various distribution media are needed: the printing press, the internet, the radio, and so on. These media, however, are impossible without the associated manufacturing facilities, which in turn are directly dependent on an understanding of branches of physics or chemistry. Thus, rather ironically, one might suggest that the wider debate in social sciences can take place only because of the success of the natural sciences. This in turn can be reduced to, what can your science do on a practical level? While there have been innumerable successes in the social sciences, wherever we turn in the modern world we are faced with the end results of an understanding of the natural sciences. Bricks, paints, plastics, paper, ceramics, artificial light, electronics, metals, telecommunication, automobiles. Many of these have existed for millennia, but in the current age an understanding of the natural sciences is necessary for the mass manufacturing of such items for large populations. On the other hand, the evidence of the success of the social sciences is abundant, but altogether more subtle in manifestation, and more effort must be made to find this evidence. To reiterate, however, this dichotomy is altogether different from the process of doing science in these two branches of science, which I would argue reduces to a combination of empiricism and rational systematic investigation. Although creative methods and intuition can be used to arrive at solutions more quickly, it is the error-checking, rational, systematic and empirical investigation that validates the results and enables the foundations to be formed and built upon. There is thus a difficulty in focusing on such a dichotomy in the preface, even before the book is properly begun. Such debates occur rather artificially in various guises, but the generalizations necessary are such that the accuracy of statements is exchanged for the expediency of the immediate discussion. However, unlike Feyerabend, Kuhn contextualizes his statement by suggesting that his consideration of the issues led him to formulate the concept of paradigms in scientific research, and indeed this becomes a central tenet of the subsequent work.